that I'm seeing a lot of on my For You page at the moment, people talking about leaving London or why they should leave London or why people, or the UK generally. And as someone who moved to London like 5 or 6 years ago, I'm really interested in this. I obviously have a lot of love for London as a migrant, as someone who moved here because I thought the city had a lot to offer. But obviously, I do feel like something has changed. I do feel like compared to 5, 6, even 10 years ago, something has changed in how people, especially young people, feel about London. Like London's always been an expensive city. It's always been great. It's, you know, so what is it about this current moment that's making people really, really want to leave? I have a theory, but I want to know what you think as well. My theory is that the behavior of leaders and leadership over the COVID pandemic, the lockdowns, and the last few years has really revealed the corruption and has broken the social contract that the state has with the people in a way that people can't look away from. The trust has been broken between the state and its people. It's gotten to the point where people don't feel like anything they can do. There's like a disenchantment that people don't feel there's anything they can do to change the system for the better because they feel like things are so corrupt. Now, that's just a theory I have. What do you think?
So, my girlfriend and I have decided to quit our jobs and leave the UK in 10 days' time to go travelling around Southeast Asia and then move on to Australia. Now, other than friends and family, I don't think there is that much left in the UK for me. The quality of life is depressing. Nobody here wants to see you do well. It's just such a negative culture now. The weather is shit. And yeah, we just think that this is the right choice for us. We're taking a risk that I feel most people are quite scared to take, in all honesty, but we think it's the right choice for us, so that's why we're doing it. I'm going to document the whole thing on air, so follow me and just see what we get up to, yeah.
Left broken Britain, and here's why you should too. You're like me, you are somebody who wants to better themselves. You are somebody who sees a better future for themselves. You don't want to have this crabs in the bucket mentality. You don't want to be surrounded by people that when you tell them you want to start an online business, they immediately shoot you down. That is England in today's society. Another problem in England is, instead of worrying about how you're going to better yourself, there's so many issues right now that you worry about the issues rather than yourself. So you're worried about going out and getting your phone snatched, knife crime, what that person might do, if that person's trying to set you up. It's just a bad place to thrive if you are somebody who wants to better themselves. Best way I can advise you to get out of this situation is to start an online business so you can be anywhere in the world like me and earn a full-time income. If you want to learn step by step from my journey and how I've managed to pull it off, hit the link in my bio. You have to click the 3 dots in the top right corner, by the way, then click open in browser, and then it will allow you to message me. Do that, message me, and I'll send you a free ebook I've created. It's completely free. We'll show you step by step how you can start your own online business from the comfort of your own home right here, right now.
Reason I left the UK, number 2. Well, I had about 14 points on my driver's license. Yes, as in currently, I kind of have 14 points on my driver's license. Don't ask me why, don't ask me how, but basically from totting up and all these speeding tickets and getting stopped randomly with like maybe no insurance or just a lot of irresponsible behavior. These things actually now impact you trying to get like car insurance, for example. And car insurance in the UK, bro, they will cramp down on you. The feds are undercover. You know, it's just very difficult, like as a young person as well, trying to like fill out your details and you have all these points that you have to declare. Somebody with a driving history like mine, it would just made things so difficult in life. Like I would have to go through somebody else to get my insurance. And even going through that somebody else sometimes, when they stop you, it's not even paying. Luckily here in Texas, they drive like maniacs. As in, when I was applying for my license, bro, I did not even do one test. I don't even know the roads. And the fact that they drive on the other side was even something that's meant to defeat me, but I was stronger. I literally booked my test, went to one driving school, boom, by the bing, got my license. Like, I physically have a Texas license right now. It wasn't actually hard at all. I'm now not saying don't go and do lessons, but I've been driving since I was 18, so, you know, I got some years under the belt. I guess what I'm really trying to say is that things got really expensive in terms of trying to find my insurance, and it was like, you know what, amongst other reasons, why don't you just come out here, start fresh, and start clean? Now we're on the straight and narrow. Follow me for more.
We've just come up to our 2-year anniversary. I think it was like a couple of days ago of us actually getting on the aeroplane and leaving the UK. We'd sold our house, it finally went through. We went down to London and we got on that plane, and we have been travelling full time for 2 years now. Why did we actually leave the UK? Like, why have we left and why have we continued? And it just comes down to that fact of nothing was actually that wrong in the UK. We just felt like our time was just getting used up by just going along, not doing what we wanted to do, and just feeling like we had an idea and It was a dream, and we kept saying, oh, you know what, when the girls grow up, we'll go do travelling. When we're older, when we're retired, we'll have time to go do these things. And a number of things happened to us as a family, people really close to us, that broke us down and was really upsetting, because we realised that time was the answer to everything. And you cannot bank on having that time. We were absolutely fine living in the UK. We had a house, we had jobs, the girls were going to school, it was fine, but time was just ticking away. We were just wishing for the weekend, or wishing for the end of the month for payday, or looking forward to something else. You know, oh, I've just got 2 days more of work. That is 2 days of your life that you were just wishing away. Now we've been going for 2 years. I can say very clearly, I don't wish and I don't go, oh, I want today to disappear because I want to just get to the weekend. I'm enjoying every single day. Yes, some days are harder than others, but I think it's a realization that time isn't always on your side, and if there's something that you want to do, you need to take that chance if it is dangled right in front of you.
A lot of Albanians leave Albania and move to the UK, but I did the opposite. I left the UK and moved to Albania. The reason why I left the UK and moved to Albania is because I work online and I make money online, so I don't need to be in the UK. I can go anywhere as long as I have my laptop and an internet connection. So it doesn't make sense for me to stay in the UK and pay double or triple the price for everything when I can move to Albania, which is, in my opinion, much more beautiful than the UK, live here and be able to save money at the same time whilst growing my business.
So people ask us all the time, why do you leave the UK so often? And it's mainly because building wealth in the UK is actually just really difficult. Like, it's not easy building wealth here for a number of reasons. And I thought we could just go into it.
So when you think about building wealth, there's two sides to it. One is about building your income, and the second one is about building your assets. Now, it's really difficult for you to build your income and improve your income generation ability over here just because of how many taxes are coming at you. Council tax, CGT if you own a company, corporation tax, etc, etc, etc. There are just too many taxes. And so when you are able to live in countries like Dubai and get something like a golden visa where you don't even have to be in Dubai, so you can get the golden visa and then travel everywhere else but still get all the tax benefits, why wouldn't you leave the UK? And then the second thing about building wealth. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. The idea is that if something is increasing, even if you only have 1% of that, you're going to do well. Now, in the UK, the last 2 years or so, things have just been... Whereas when you travel to places like Dubai, as an example, everyone's so entrepreneurial, everyone's thinking about what they can be doing to grow. Even the government are thinking about how they can be investing to make things better. And so why would you want to be in the UK where things seem like they're going in the other direction, when in places like Bali and in places like Dubai, everyone's got this growth mindset? And so that's pretty much why we've decided that although the UK is great for so many reasons, at least for right now for us, it just isn't right.
And it's a sacrifice. Like, you're leaving your home, you're leaving your family, you're not building the houses that all your friends are building, but what you are building is the cash flow. And hopefully when we come back to the UK, we'll be in a better position because we built our cash flow up and we haven't allowed it to be drained.
So a few of you guys are wondering why my husband and I are thinking about relocating and leaving the UK. And there's really 3 main reasons why we think we will do this. The first reason is salaries. My husband and I both work in the tech industry. I'm a solution specialist. He is a tech consultant. And when we compare our salaries here in the UK to that of other countries, the difference is massive. And yes, we know obviously we have healthcare here in the UK, which we're super grateful for. But when you look at the cost of healthcare in other countries and the taxes and then the salaries and compare it to the UK, it still seems like salaries in the UK are extremely low. The second reason is due to the cost of living. So obviously the cost of living is super high across the world right now, but it still feels like you don't get as much for your money in the UK as you would in other European countries specifically. For example, when you look at the cost of childcare, university fees, and even rent in London in comparison to other areas in Europe, the difference is just massive. So I could be making the same here in London as I do in another European country, but all of those costs means that I'm not getting as much for my money. The The final reason is that we just want to improve ourselves as people and learn a new language. The UK naturally is quite English centric and most people only speak English. So in order for us to kind of learn a new language, we kind of have to move to a different country which speaks multiple languages. This is a really important factor for us because when we have children, we want them to speak multiple languages outside of our own native languages as well. But generally, the UK is a great place to live. There are lots of reasons why someone would want to live here, but there are also lots of reasons why you might not.
If you are the average British person and you choose to stay in this country for the next 2 years, here's what's most likely going to happen. Your standard of living is not going to improve, your taxes may well go up, and you will continue to feel a squeeze to your finances. So here's a graph outlining this that was released after the budget today. To explain what this graph here means to you, it means that between the last general election and the one that's about to happen, you, the average British person, have witnessed the greatest drop in living standards since records began, since the 1950s. And this is the problem. People in this country don't realise how much better our standard of living could and should be. And highlighting this is not an anti-British statement. It's highlighting how this country has gone down the toilet and is going to stay in the toilet for a good few years, all thanks to these arseholes. And Labour are not going to be in a position where they can do a great deal about it. Our economic growth is predicted to grow slower than expected, inflation is set to remain stubborn, and the tax burden is still set to remain very high, so Labour will most likely increase taxes. The tax cuts announced today are a classic trap for the next government, and they're also not going to improve the average person's life. In real terms, we are still going to remain a country where the average person is feeling the squeeze. So I would still advise that you move somewhere else, because there are numerous countries that either have a higher standard of living or a better quality of life. And people will always say that whatever country you move to has got its own problems and that's why you shouldn't move there. Don't fall for this self-defeating, limiting belief. The grass is always greener argument is a generic and lazy argument normally made by people who don't have the bollocks to move abroad themselves. So they would rather try and prevent you from doing it and drag you down. Or they'd rather remain here living in ignorance, thinking that everything is okay without realising how much our standard of living has dropped compared to other comparable economies. Let those people remain ignorant and start looking on TikTok and YouTube at the amount of Brits who have moved abroad and are now raving about how much better their life is. There are always valid reasons why some people can't do it, but for the average person, you can. Don't let your mind be the obstacle in the way of you improving your life.
Guys, we're leaving the UK. Food for thought, guys. Don't you think it's interesting how our parents and grandparents moved from their home countries to a foreign country to build a life for their children? But now in this generation, we are so eager and so desperate to move to another country to help secure a better life for our children. Don't you think that's interesting?
That is very interesting. I mean, the amount of people on just friends and family, social media that I see, for many reasons are leaving the UK just to move their family for a better life. So my question is, where are we going? So Hannah, we can go Bangladesh, Pakistan, Middle East. Everyone loves going to Dubai.
I think Middle East is definitely attracting a lot of Muslims to go there, don't you think, from the UK?
Yeah, Malaysia.
Singapore. Let me know, guys, has anyone had this similar thinking before, or is it just me?
As you want to talk about the cost of living, I just stopped off near Shoreditch to get a quick coffee and something to eat. Yeah. And I just paid about £7 for peanut butter, banana toast. It's mad. I've already had half of it, but bloody hell. £7 for a toast, a banana and peanut butter. Cost of living.
Aldi, could I have a word, please? I picked up some eggs the other day. Large. Definitely large. I asked for large eggs. I open the carton to see how large these eggs are, and that's how big it is. Now, I'm not being funny, but that looks like a small egg. Not even a medium, a small egg. What in the world has gone on with Aldi? On top of that, I'm doing my son a ham toasty, and the ham was so wafer thin. when I was peeling them apart, they was just ripping to pieces because they were that thin. Honestly, you would think that Aldi was running out of money and they were going bankrupt, but they're not. They're making a fortune and the prices are increasing. So why are they trying to scam us? Dude, that is not a large egg. That's a medium. No, that's a small egg. That's a small egg. Change the carton to small because that is not a large egg. On top of that, look at these meat sticks. Look. Where's the rest, mate? Where's the rest?
What in the cost of living broken Britain is this again? Anchor. 750 grams, 708. How the fuck is Anchor right behind Lurpak? Man. Yeah, we've got bacon cob here, 193. Remember the sauce sachet? That just shows you the size of it. It is small. What's happened to this? Dowie egg bits. 644. 339. 150 grams. It's not even big. Bisto gravy. 380. Not even the Bisto best. Jesus Christ. A lot of people ask me to look at the oil. Wow, these ain't even big. 433, 424, 873, 424. These ain't even big oils. What's happened to oil? Small can of Dove deodorant, 446. And no, it's not a big one, before anyone starts saying. How do people afford to shave? Jesus Christ. It's cheaper to go to the hairdressers. There we have it, Asda. Not all bad. A lot of cheap stuff in there. We've still got some of your main stuff that people have. Crap price. See you all again soon.
I'm working in Lewisham at the minute. A couple of weeks ago, we had a whole machine stolen off site on Sydenham Road. Not only did we have a whole machine stolen off Sydenham Road, but when talking to the members of the public in the local area about it, see if anybody had witnessed anything. We got some video footage in regards to it, but one of the main things that people kept saying is that in the last 6 to 12 months, burglaries in the area have gone through the roof. Nearly everybody I spoke to had their house burgled or things stolen from their garden. This is the actual societal cost of the cost of living crisis. Not only is it financially strangling the working class, it's also creating a rise in crime. And this will also, something that's close to my heart, bring a rise in violent crime. Knife crime, gun crime, all these different forms of poverty-related crime, drug crime, county lines. Gangs are going to be absolutely loving the situation at the minute as more and more youth are going into austerity because their parents can't put food on the table or put gas and electricity in the house. So they're going to be out trying to make their own money so they can have their own little bits and things. And who's doing anything about it? Because I'm like hardlining at the minute, tagging people left, right and centre on all sorts of social media, trying to get support to raise money for Stop the Bleed kits because knife crime is at an all-time high. And normal members of the public can't help because they haven't got the money to help. And all of the people in politics and in places of privilege, financial privilege, not replying to it, not even noticing what I'm doing. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. Something's got to give. Things need to change. We need to hold big corporations accountable. We need to hold politicians accountable for what they are doing to the average person. It's just becoming a joke.
So the UK have just sent their first instalment of a £2.26 billion loan to Ukraine of £752 million, which I find quite ironic considering that the UK have said for decades that they do not have the money for their own people. They don't have the money to support homelessness, to support mental health, to support knife crime, to tackle anything, basically. We have a crumbling NHS, we have staff that don't want to work, teachers that don't want to teach, children that are going hungry, and people living on the streets. So I thought it'd be interesting to see where that £752 million, keeping in mind this is just one instalment, what it could have done for the UK's own citizens. I just thought it'd be interesting, and this is what I found. So, starting off with housing and homelessness, the estimated cost to build a social housing unit is around £150,000 per home. That £752 million could have built over 5,000 new homes, significantly reducing homelessness and the ease of, council waiting lists. Not only that, but street homelessness as well. It costs around £19,000 per year to support and house one homeless person. With £752 million, the UK could house over 39,500 homeless people for a whole year. Free school meals for children. Universal free school meals would cost around £2.5 billion per year, basically what we're giving Ukraine. The £752 million could have funded free school meals for over 30% of the country's children for a whole year. NHS nurses pay rise, because they state that we are understaffed. So an 8.5% pay rise for all NHS nurses will cost approximately £750 million. This money could have fully funded a well-deserved pay increase and therefore preventing staff shortages. We could have built new hospitals, because apparently we need them. A brand new NHS hospital costs around 400 to 500 million to build. 752 million could have built at least 1.5 new state-of-the-art hospitals, therefore easing the NHS crisis. Mental health support, because that's massively close to my heart too. The total funding gap for mental health services in the UK is estimated at £1 billion. 752 million could have closed 75% of that gap, improving access to therapy, crisis care and prevention programmes. But the 1 billion, so basically we could literally ease the mental health support services in total with half of what the total we're sending to Ukraine. Funding youth services and knife crime prevention. Youth service cuts have left many young people vulnerable to crime and violence. £752 million could have restored thousands of youth centres across the UK and funded community programmes to tackle knife crime and gang involvement. Public transport and rail fare reductions. They're the ones saying that they don't want us driving and all the emissions and climate change rubbish. So they could have eased that. The government subsidises around £2 billion a year on public transport. £752 million could have significantly reduced train fares, making commuting affordable for millions. The energy bill relief for households. Last year, the UK government previously offered £400 energy bill support per household during the crisis. The orchestrated crisis, by the way, that they started with this whole war in Ukraine, which is ironic. Anyway, 752 million could have given nearly 1.9 million struggling households an extra £400 towards their bills. They could have supported small businesses. Many small businesses are struggling with high costs and lack of funding, and the costs are just going to keep going up and up. Business rates are increasing, rent is increasing, and people are just shopping online now. But 752 million could have provided £50,000 grants to over 15,000 small businesses, helping them survive and grow. Instead of sending the 752 million abroad and the 2.256 billion in total, this money could have transformed lives right here in the UK, from housing the homeless to strengthening the NHS and supporting struggling families. They could have stopped children being hungry. They could have looked after their own. All the money that we've put into the UK economy, that they're now taken from us and given to another country in a manipulated and orchestrated war that has no winners other than the rich people get rich and the poor get poorer. So for decades they said that they don't have the money for the UK, and yet quite evidently they do.
When it comes to the United Kingdom and the US economies, the average person today in real terms is poorer, not just in the money that they have, but what they can buy. For decades, we've been told in the United Kingdom and US, the promise has been that your kids would have a better life than you, would be better off than you, would be more secure, would have more opportunities, would have more freedom. But that dream is broken. Wages are stagnant. If you look at the United Kingdom, for example, wages haven't kept up with housing prices. If they did, the average salary here in the United Kingdom, instead of being 37,000, would be around 78,000. Our public systems here in the United Kingdom in particular, they're crumbling. The ladder, that ladder in terms of getting on in life, well, that ladder's been taken away for so many. When it comes to GDP, people often talk about GDP, especially governments. But GDP is a lie told about averages. A few billionaires here and there skews the numbers. So even in the United States, when it comes to the average person, they're poorer today. Because billionaires massively skew the numbers. For so many, the systems aren't working. People are falling behind further than ever. They're working harder than ever before. They're under more pressure just to have a life, just to give their kids some opportunity. We're perpetually on a hamster wheel where we vote for different parties. We're not really voting for real change. We're not voting for a change of system. We're just voting for a different form of management. And it's getting to the point where for so many, enough is enough. But without change, nothing changes if nothing changes.
This system really is designed to keep you working your off until the day you die and have as little as possible. And that's because money really is broken. Truth is, the government can print money whenever the hell they want to. And they do. Take COVID, just after lockdowns, more money was printed in the UK than has ever been printed in the history of time in this country. But even before COVID and lockdowns, the interest rate target was 2% every year. And that 2% is based on the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which is basically a basket of goods that's put together by, you guessed it, the government. And this is a basket of goods, just a few things, I don't know, energy, housing, that sort of thing. They're put into a basket, which is the average person. And obviously this can be changed, which means that they can, to a certain degree, manipulate inflation rates. So the true inflation rate, forgetting COVID beforehand, was estimated to be around 10%. Obviously now it is 10%, so God knows what it actually is. What that actually means to you is that you need to get a 10% pay rise every single year at your job, which you obviously don't, just to keep up with the cost of living. Or if you own your own business, you need to earn 10% more in revenue just in the top line every single year, which is pretty much impossible for a business to sustain over a long period of time. Keeping money in your bank account or buying a house, which even houses, people talk about the value of the house going up over time, making them wealthy, but it's not. That's not the value of the house going up, is it? It's actually the value of money going down over time. So it's artificially making it look like the house is worth more money. That being said, the only way that you can keep the value of your money over time is to buy things that go up in value. Assets.
You know what really sucks? Is not being able to have a single plan on a Friday night because of the fact that you literally cannot leave the house without blinking and spending a fucking £100. Like, how has Scotland got so expensive? Like, not just Scotland, the whole of the UK. It's an absolute shit show how expensive it is out there at the moment. Like, you used to be able to, when you were younger, like, maybe go out with like 30 quid, it'd be a cheap night out, but you maybe get a taxi, you get some drinks, maybe get into a club. But now, like, you'd be lucky if you got 2 drinks with that. Like, it's extortionate. And not just like going out to drink, like, I'd like plans doing anything, but I can't because everything costs so much money. Like, even getting a takeaway. And like, free stuff, the only real free stuff you can do now is like going out to look at things, but the weather's shit. Like, it's so mental that everything in the UK right now is so overpriced, and the fact that like the wages aren't really going up that much, but like taxes, national insurances, petrol prices are, energy prices are, it's mental.